Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Senator Aaron Reed from District 7, and with me I have Taylor McKee. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Nice to meet you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Please turn your microphone on.
There you go.
That might help. Apologies. Taylor McKee with the National Rifle Association.
Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, I bring before you today Senate Bill 75, which seeks to restore equality for all legal adults in Kentucky by lowering the concealed carry age from 21 to 18 years old. This bill is about fairness, constitutional rights, and the ability of young adults to protect themselves just like any other law-abiding citizen. At 18 years old, a Kentuckian is legally an adult. They can vote, they can sign contracts, they can marry, they can be tried as an adult in court, and most importantly, they can serve in the United States military. We trust them to carry a rifle on the battlefield to defend our freedoms, yet we deny them the right to carry a concealed weapon to defend themselves at home. This is an unjust double standard, one that must be corrected. Now, some may argue that lowering the concealed carry age will make it easier for kids to get guns, but let me be very clear, this bill does not change who can legally purchase a firearm. Federal law still applies. Background checks still apply. Nothing in this bill weakens or changes our existing gun purchasing laws. It simply ensures that those who are already legally allowed to own a firearm are given the same right to carry it responsibly, just as they would at 21. The courts are recognizing this unfair restriction. In January of this year, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that it's unconstitutional to deny 18 to 20-year-olds the right to purchase firearms. If we acknowledge that they have the right to own a firearm, then why are we denying them the ability to carry one for their own protection? For me, this issue is somewhat personal. I have an 18-year-old daughter, and as her father, I want her to have every legal tool available to defend herself. This bill does not force her or any 18-year-old to carry a concealed weapon. It gives them the choice. Self-defense is not a privilege, it's a fundamental right. This is not a radical idea, it is a common sense correction to Kentucky law that brings us in line with our values of individual liberty and responsibility. I urge this committee to stand for equal rights for all adults, to respect the Constitution, and to pass this bill. Thank you. I'll let Mr. McKee here, he has some words as well.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of this committee. Like I said previously, my name is Taylor McKee with the National Rifle Association. We support this legislation, Senate Bill 75, allowing 18, 19, and 20-year-old law-abiding young adults to carry a concealed firearm. We thank the sponsor for bringing it. Young adults 18 to 20 are among the people protected by the Second Amendment, and they should not be barred or discriminated against from carrying firearms for self-defense. Many young adults are familiar with firearms, whether it be through hunting, shooting, or training with family. They're also allowed to purchase handguns, but currently cannot carry or bear them. By the nature of being young and starting out in the workforce, young adults are more likely to get the late night shift at the hospital or on the job site. These folks are the ones who are out at the most dangerous hours of the night and deserve a right to protect themselves against these criminals. I'd also suggest that members with daughters, as previously stated, would be able to protect themselves from aggressors and be able to carry a concealed firearm. This would also make the right to self-defense more consistent with other adult rights, such as voting, entering into contracts, serving in the military, and being held both civilly and criminally liable in a court of law. The Heller and Brewer decisions uphold the right of law-abiding citizens to keep and bear arms for self-defense. The Constitution also clearly states that the rights of people shall not be infringed. 18, 19, and 20-year-olds are clearly contemplated as people in the Constitution. As I stated, they're allowed to assemble, speak freely, enter into contracts, be protected from unreasonable search and seizures, invoke their Fifth Amendment right, get married, and so on. For these reasons, young adults fit squarely within this definition of the people and for the rest of the Bill of Rights. Why shouldn't the Second Amendment also extend to them? As stated, the Supreme Court has said if a modern-day gun control law runs afoul of the Second Amendment, then it's presumptively unconstitutional and unenforceable. If the law implicates it, then the burden would shift to the government, and they would prove that there is a long-standing tradition of firearm regulation that is analogous to the modern-day gun control law. As it is now, young adults are currently being infringed upon as it pertains to their Second Amendment rights, and there is no long-standing tradition or history that would justify this. It's quite the opposite. The Bill of Rights was ratified in 1791, and a few months thereafter, in 1792, Congress passed the Militia Act. The Militia Act of 1792 was a national standard that allowed for 18-year-olds to be in the militia. These young adults were responsible for purchasing, maintaining their own privately owned firearms, black powder, and for defending the country if called upon. Not only was it expected of them, but it was required for 18, 19, and 20-year-old young adults. The act of carrying a firearm is covered by the plain text of the Second Amendment. This is covered when the Constitution states keep and bear, and they are also classified as people. For these reasons, we believe that all law-abiding young adults should be able to carry a concealed firearm for self-defense. And in closing, sir, this bill expands civil liberties. It allows young adults to protect themselves and their loved ones. This bill allows young mothers and daughters to carry and protect themselves against criminals who, I might remind you, do not follow the law regardless of what this great body passes. This bill is a step forward for the Second Amendment rights in Kentucky. The National Rifle Association is proud of the work this body has done as it pertains to the Second Amendment rights, and we hope it continues in this endeavor. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I think Senator Carroll had a comment or a question, I should say.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And oftentimes when we review this, I get confused in what the stipulations are on the carry. My understanding is that an 18-year-old can carry open carry, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and also a military member can do concealed carry at 18, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I think it's important to note that. I personally do not see anything to gain by passing this bill, and that's from 24 years as a law enforcement officer. And, you're always taught to assume that everyone is carrying a concealed weapon, mainly with the segment of society that law enforcement often deals with. And I think this is just going to kick that up to another level, and they are going to be carrying concealed. And I was lost when we took training away from carrying concealed with constitutional carry. My entire adult life as a law enforcement officer, I was trained regularly to know how and when to shoot that gun. The idea of people carrying a concealed weapon who may not even know how to shoot that weapon is terrifying. And I think we went too far there, and I think this is another step where we have gone too far. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Thomas.
Thank you. And sir, tell me your name again.
Taylor McKee.
Mr. McKee.
Yes, sir.
Mr. McKee, you cited the Fifth Circuit decision. And my staff got that decision for me last night, and Senator Reed will testify. We had a long night last night. He was with me. but I did come home, and I did look at that decision late last night. And you will agree with me that what the Fifth Circuit said was that although you can't discriminate between adults 18 to 21, it did make clear that states still have the ability to make differences regarding, how they carry it, what training they get, what the qualifications they are for purchase. And so we're not required by that Fifth Circuit decision to say that 18-year-olds can carry concealed weapons. Kentucky could still differentiate under that Fifth Circuit decision between 18 and 20-year-olds in terms of having the right to carry concealed weapons. Isn't that allowed under the Fifth Circuit decision?
And since y'all aren't in the Fifth, yeah, that would not be binding, sir.
Okay.
We did have, I think, two people signed up to speak, Kathy Hobart and Chuck Eddy. Are you in the room? If you wish to speak, please come to the table.
Thank you.
Sorry, please identify yourselves for the record, and you may proceed.
Yes, my name is Kathy Hobart, and I'm a mother of 6, a grandmother of 9. I also happen to have a PhD in developmental psychology, which means that I know a little bit about the development of the adolescent brain. I've been a volunteer with the gun violence prevention movement since 2 students were shot and killed at their high school in Marshall County. Those students were the same age as my 2 youngest children, and it was then that I realized that it could have been my family, my children, my community. I had to do something to stem this tide of death and destruction. All of you sitting here should know that it could be your family too. But unlike me, you actually have the power to do something to protect our young people, or at the very least, not make our communities more dangerous. As Senator Carroll said, the young people in the age group 18 to 20 do not have the developmental capacity to carry a gun without any training, which is what you would be allowing these young people to do. They could put a gun in their pocket, go to the park, and get in a fight and shoot somebody without it, and it'll be on your hands that this was a legal thing for them to do, not the shooting, but the carrying of the gun, without them knowing anything necessarily about how to train. We also heard Senator Reed say that it doesn't change anything about background checks. That's because we don't have background checks in the state of Kentucky. You can get a gun in the state of Kentucky without a background check very, very easily. And so anyway, it would be much more dangerous. More children and teens in Kentucky died by gunshot than by any other means. Yesterday, all of you, every single one of you, voted to protect our children as they are getting on and off their school buses. And that was a very commendable bill that you all passed. But how many kids are killed getting in and out of the bus? Today, you're deciding to allow their peers to carry loaded, concealed weapons at parties, at the park, at the mall, at the parade, at the festival, on the street. You know it is dangerous, and you know this is wrong. Young adults are 3 times more likely to commit homicide than other people whose brains are more developed. If you put more guns into more young people's hands, more of them will die and more of them will kill. Do you really want this on your conscience?
Ma'am,
Vote no.
Does Mr. Eddy have any comments?
Yes, I do.
Very briefly, sir.
I'm Chuck Eddy from Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you, Chairman and committee members, for the opportunity to testify on this bill. I oppose this bill to decrease the age for concealed carry from 21 to 18. Guns are the #1 killer of children 18 and under in this state and in the country as a whole. I believe it's only a matter of time until an 18-year-old high schooler concealed carries a gun into a school and kills. We just lost a high school student in Lexington 2 days ago, Arsenio Jackson Jr. I have a grandson in the public schools in Lexington, so it's personal. We need more sensible gun legislation like universal background checks and secure gun storage bills to reduce gun violence. I'm very concerned about this opening it up. It's not about the right to bear arms. It's concealed carry, and that's a whole different world. This bill will not reduce gun violence. Please vote no. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. You can ask one question, yes.
You had indicated the opportunities that 18-year-olds have to carry guns. You mentioned they could go to parks and playgrounds and malls and parties. Under this bill right here, you could also add, and you talked about the school bus provisions that we passed, school bus bill we passed yesterday to keep our children on school buses safe. You could also add, couldn't you, that these 18-year-olds now could carry guns on those school buses. Isn't that correct?
Well, I don't really know what the laws are about carrying guns on buses. I'm under the impression that it's still illegal to have a gun on school property.
Thank you. See no further questions. Senator Reed, if you don't mind, come back to the table.
Motion on the bill.
We have a motion on the bill. We have a second. We have a first by Senator Wheeler, a second by President Stivers. This time we'll call a roll.
Senator Carroll,
I'd like to explain my no vote, Mr. Chairman.
Limit to 3 minutes, please.
Mr. Chairman, you know, in every other issue that we deal with here in Frankfort, when we look at young people, we always look at the age of 25 as being when the brain matures, and there's science to back that up. That's realistic. And, you know, I really think that that's something we should apply to this issue also. And I very much support the Second Amendment. I own guns. I support everyone owning guns and protecting themselves. I have no issue with that. I have no issue with the Constitution. And I am a strong supporter of our Constitution. Our forefathers did not draw up that Constitution considering where this world is today. And we must take a common sense approach on these issues to protect our public. And you can use this argument either way as far as protection. But I don't think that's what they had in mind. I don't think there's any way they could envision the things that happen today. So to put a gun legally concealed in the hands of someone that age, when we know that 25 is when the brain matures, I see that as irresponsible, and I don't see this as a Second Amendment issue at all. And there comes a point when common sense and doing the right thing has to take precedent. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Deneen.
Explain my vote.
Yes, please.
At this time, I vote pass on this bill, and I do so for this reason. As a former educator, I understand that 18-year-olds are seniors in high school, and I want to make it clear that this does not change any laws when it comes to schools outlawing weapons, guns, anything of that nature on buses or anywhere else. And I'm fully aware that our service members at 18 are trained. They're trained to carry these guns. And I would like to see in this bill some type of training involved in the carry conceal side of this at age 18. I'm fully supportive of the Second Amendment. I am not in any way saying this is not a good bill. I just, at this time, I would like to work with the bill sponsor to see if there's anything else that we can add in there to make this bill a little bit stronger going forward. So at this time, I'm going to pass, but I'll reserve the right to change that as we go to the floor.
Senator Neal. Senator Nemes.
Aye.
Senator Reed.
Aye.
Senator Stivers.
Explain my vote, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
I vote aye, and I know I'm limited to 3 minutes. But I want to go back and look at some things as it relates to personal history. We've talked about our forefathers, and I do respect Senator Carroll's opinion on this. He has great expertise. But teenagers fought in the Revolutionary War when our forefathers drafted the Constitution. 1941, December 7th. I know 3 young men, one 20, one 19, and one 18, enlisted in the Army because of a tragic event that happened December 7th. One of those was my dad. The other 2 are my uncles. My uncle stayed from 1941 to 1970, seeing both World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. My dad stayed 6 years and went into Dachau. In 2018, I got a call that my 19-year-old son had decided to leave 2 years of electrical engineering and enlist in the United States Marines. And that May, I put him on a bus with $20 bill, a Bible, and his driver's license. I think those instances show that we have, within the recognition of the United States government and the state government, that teenagers are able to defend our country, and therefore they should be able to purchase a weapon and carry it as any other adult, because at 18, our laws recognize them as such.
Senator Thomas,
I'd like to explain my no vote. Let me be the lawyer first. Under the Fifth Circuit decision, there's nothing constitutionally requiring us to do this. As was indicated by the gentleman representing NRA, the Fifth Circuit made clear that even though 18-year-olds should be allowed to purchase guns under the Constitution, states still had the authority to set restrictions on how they purchased it, what requirements they had to purchase it, and how they could carry it. Okay, so we're not constitutionally required to do this. Not to mention that we're in the Sixth Circuit, not the Fifth Circuit. So that's the legal analysis. More importantly, the social analysis, which is what we're doing now is putting more and more guns in the hands of young people to do bad things to anyone. And as everybody knows in this room today, we have more guns in America than we have people. And to allow more guns today to proliferate here in this state, it's just absolutely dangerous. I know in my hometown of Lexington, we have seen in the last 2 years a significant decrease in the murder rate. Now, we have cut our murder rate more than half. And as I've indicated to this body already, Lexington, of the top 100 cities, now has the second lowest murder rate per capita. And that's because we've taken definitive and intentional steps to get out and work in the community to make sure that we decrease guns and remove guns in the hands of young people and give them, more positive interactions to stop this. I cannot vote under any circumstances to just allow freely and without any caution young people, 18-year-olds, to have guns concealed to move around, to do whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want. And to the statement made today about serving your country, there is a big difference in 18-year-olds being able to serve their country and carry guns to make sure that they are defending the freedoms and liberties which we enjoy to protect our country. I'm all for that. But I'm not for, as was indicated, 18-year-olds carrying it to playgrounds, carrying this to parties, carrying this to malls, carrying this wherever they want to go, to use that gun, at a second's notice to harm someone. So I am not going to vote for more guns in the hands of young people to do more harm for this society. And so I'm going to vote no.
Senator Wheeler,
Explain my yes vote.
Please proceed.
One, I'd like to echo the comments of President Stivers, but I think it's important to point out, and with all due respect to my colleagues who disagree, we're talking about people who want to purchase a firearm and go through the system in the right way. We're talking about kids that want to obey the law. I mean, most of the gun violence we see out of youth are children that are purchasing illegal guns off of the street, and that is a more prevalent thing in parts of our society. And therefore, good law-abiding citizens, sometimes universities and things are not located in the best part of town. I think my law partner had an incident when she was at U of L Law School that she got a firearm after that to defend herself. What we're looking for is young people who want to step up to the plate, to have the right to defend themselves just like every other law-abiding citizen. And I think that I want to thank the sponsor for bringing this bill. I think it's a good bill, and it just brings parity to law-abiding young men and young women who want the same right of self-defense as every other American has by the rights guaranteed in the United States Constitution. Thank you.
Chair Storm.
Aye. Senate Bill 75 is reported favorably with the expression of opinion the same should pass.